So in part 2, we'll continue to speak about emotions and speaking to how we touch into emotions that are either buried or in the shadow, or emotions that there is resistance to feeling or there's a barrier. One thing that is helpful is to, as we get close to that emotion that has been avoided, to deeply look into the sensation of what it feels like to slowly get closer to that emotion. And what we're doing is we're meeting it with curiosity and noticing where the emotion starts, as we get closer to that emotion that we're having difficulty feeling, when it starts to get uncomfortable, to look into what is it there, what is resisting, and what is the underlying thought or feeling behind the discomfort. So let's use the example of feeling fear or feeling sadness. Is there a belief tied into feeling that emotion? Something like you're afraid that if you go into this emotion that you'll never get out, you'll be stuck in that emotion. Or is there a belief that there's a weakness, it's weak to feel this emotion? It's helpful to look at all of the beliefs that might be working in the background, preventing even just merely accessing from a superficial level that emotion, or touching or just coming even closer to it. So as we get closer to the emotion, we start to feel it, and we're seeing, okay, this is the belief behind it. Now there could be a feeling of just physical, visceral contraction or pushing away to even get close to that. And something that I found helpful was to speak to my body and speak to my nervous system as if they are a separate person from myself. The reason why this was helpful was that, at least through my spiritual journey, there were some emotions that were stuck from childhood. And a lot of the times, those really, really tough emotions, if they're tied into very early childhood experiences with our parents, feeling the emotion brings the body and the nervous system back to the same vulnerable position and the same vulnerable state that we were in when that first strong emotion was experienced. And because as children, we rely on our parents for safety, we rely on them for emotional safety, but also physical safety for food and shelter. There is a direct link towards our parents and them providing from us and our sense of safety and our sense of belonging in the world. So perhaps just coming close to it and touching into that emotion brings us back. Every part of our body, our nervous system, every part of our body brings us back to that feeling of feeling helpless and vulnerable as a child and needing that love and validation from our parents. So what I found helpful was to sit back and talk to your body and your nervous system. And what that looks like is you'll sit down and, almost in a meditative state, connect to your body, connect to your nervous system, and tell your body and your nervous system how old you are. Tell them that you're an adult now. Remind them how old you are. Tell them what date it is, the year that it is. And you can even go further and explain to them that you don't live in that situation anymore. You don't live with your parents anymore. You can explain to them how you're, a responsible adult, and you can tell your body and your nervous system all the safety measures and support systems that you have in your life. What you're doing is you're connecting with your body and updating them on your situation now, so it experiences that feeling, the fear or the feeling of rejection or the feeling of sadness. It's feeling it in a different context. It's feeling it in the now. And there isn't that level of vulnerability that we had as a child to feel the feeling, because we're not helpless the way that we were back then. And we can then access that emotion in its raw state without the fear of abandonment or the fear of vulnerability that we had as a child when that emotion first came up. That feeling in those emotions, if they're stuck, especially if they're from childhood, allowing them to flow freely and access it is a great benefit in your awakening journey, because these emotions have had resistance to them and they haven't had an opportunity to flow, and that energy is stuck. And by reminding your body of the age that you're at and the life situation that you're in right now, it allows a comfort level, even though the emotion might still feel uncomfortable to feel. It takes away that fear and the vulnerability that might have been there, because the nervous system was still clinging to that emotion along with the childhood experiences. So I welcome you to try this activity for yourself, where you touch back on an emotion that you felt in childhood, but you prime yourself first by fully being present now and reminding your body and your nervous system of your age and your life circumstances, and give yourself permission to experience this emotion in its raw state in your presence now. And let me know how it goes for you.